All right, good morning. Welcome to the 294th District Court. My name is Judge Chris Mark. I'm going to call this morning's docket. When I call your name, please say present or here. Raise your hand so I can mark you down. If I don't see you or hear you, I may not mark you down. A warrant may be issued for your arrest. Okay. Leland Cashion. Jennifer Gonzalez. The note that Ms. Gonzalez is asking to appear via Zoom due to illness. I'll call her in just a little bit. Juvie Landaverdi. Ishmael Rodriguez. Christian Russell. Mr. Russell, I see your attorney is here online. Okay, so I'll call up your case shortly. Jeffrey Viramontes. Looks like waiver of arraignments granted. You retain Mr. Richard Schmidt. Pretrial was set April 12th. Brittany Boyd. I saw you, Miss Boyd. I didn't hear you though. Justin Cannon. Understand that Mr. Cannon has called the ambulance this morning. I've seen the ambulance outside. We'll wait to see what the result of that is. Matthew England. Marshall Flores. Alicia Harris. Jaquavian Jackson. Shelby Joslin. Tamara Ream. Tamara Lee Ream. Tad Michael Russell. I have a note that Mr. Russell may be in Henderson County. That'll need to be verified. Jesse Tashner. Sid Hoffpier. Sid Therese Hoffpower. Yes. Aaron Vasquez. For the record, Brittany Turner, CR 21400. Mr. Bonnie filed a waiver of arraignment that was granted. Pretrial is set April 14th. Carlos Padron. Cameron Martin. Ms. Heisel, I had a note that Mr. Bingham may be leading out Cameron Martin today. It's not on my docket, but I don't know if it's on your docket.
Judge, it's not on my docket either, but Ms. Abney is working on paperwork, so I do believe we're going to have a resolution on that today.
All right, that's CR 2260. Ashley Smith. Justin Smith. Justin Lee Smith. Tanner Sistruck. Tanner Garrison Sistruck. Royce White. Thank you, Mr. Hawkins. Michael Welch. Mark Walcott. Mark Harrison Walcott. Mr. Abraham, you may let Ms. Thompson know that Mr. Walcott's not here at this time. That way, if she's traveling over just for this case, she may save herself a trip if he's not here by. I would just ask her to check in with us before she leaves Coffin. Not save her a trip. Keith Thomas. Keith LaTroy Thomas. What did the courtroom look like? Marcus Ellison. Thank you, Mr. Warner. Dustin Hall. Justin Lucas. Shanna Dixon. Jordan Manis. Ray Moore. All right, is there anyone's name that I've not called? Your name, sir? Hunter Huggins. Who's your lawyer, Mr. Huggins? Jones. Let us verify that, make sure that it's today and not Thursday.
He was on the docket and used the COVID card. And that's why he's here today. It's on the MTR.
Council, if anyone's ready, if y'all want to go ahead and form a line right there, then as soon as I build Mr. Huggins, I'll start. Mr. Huggins, your court date's not until Thursday. What for? Doesn't work like that. So I tell you what you can do, you come over here and you can see the probation officers, and you talk to them, and then you can call your lawyer after that, and we'll see you on Thursday.
That's what,
Okay. Mr. Hall. All right, this is cause number CR 21385, State versus Dustin Lee Hall, set for pretrial. Mr. Wines.
Judge, set for pretrial. We anticipate we're going to be in jury trial in Henderson County this week. So I don't have any pretrial for the court now, but I just asked for leave to file any pretrial motions once I have time to do a final review of the case, maybe at the next docket call setting, or if you'd rather set it for a second pretrial, I'm fine with that. Whatever the court would like.
State, any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right, court will grant Mr. Weiner's motion to file late any pretrial motions with showing of good cause, and that set for docket call. Just
That's the call. Yes, sir.
April 12th, April 14th. Let's, yeah, that's gonna be the next setting, 30 days or so out. So April 12th to 14th, you available?
The 12th would be great, Judge.
12th, okay. All right, Mr. Hall, we're gonna set you for a docket call on April 12th at 9 a.m. Once you sign and get the notice, you're free to go. Thank you, sir. You're welcome. Marcus Ellison, Judge. Mr. Ellison? CR 2161, Mr. Ellison, set for docket call.
Yes, Your Honor. I spoke with Ms. Curry, who's personally handling this case this morning. We're not going to be able to reach a plea bargain on this case this time. Asked to be set for jury selection. And speaking to Ms. Curry, and there are some out-of-state witnesses potentially. I think she's going to be asking the court this be set number one on a docket in the future. There is one additional statement that the state anticipates that they're going to secure from a potential trial witness. They haven't yet, so that's forthcoming as well. I don't think there will be pretrial related issues, but just want to let the court know. So setting it out further is probably appropriate, although she's still trying to kind of run down the last witness.
All right, so there's a request for a special setting. I see that this is a possession case, so I would normally set those.
Sure.
On a crime against a person. So what we'll do is we'll just set this for. We'll set this for jury selection beginning Monday, April 4th. Mr. Ellison is an out-of-state resident, is that correct?
Yes, sir. And I was hoping we could, especially if this is gonna be kind of him checking every, for 6 months, so if we could find some way to space it out a little bit, saving some trips, that'd be great.
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll set him for April 4th and. Is there any concerns with Mr. Ellison on pretrial? How often now? Is he checking? Okay. Yes. You're letting check it. Right.
Are you gonna say here? Those were things.
Well, this was here. All right, Mr. Wine, this is what, okay, we're gonna set him, April 4th, that'll be his next in-person court date, and then he can work with pre-trial release, ladies, checking in remotely. So what we'll do is we'll meet him here on April 4th, we'll reset it, if he hasn't reached trial by then, I don't expect that he will. Then, we'll let him basically skip a month every time.
Okay.
Before he has to go to court, so we got every.
We appreciate that, Judge.
So April 4th at 9 AM, actually, I'm sorry, Joseph. Yeah, 8:30, 9 AM, down in the basement of the courthouse. You won't be up here because we'll be picking juries on all these court dates. So you'll just check it out at the basement and my coordinator will be down there. She'll give you more information about the next date, okay? And then you just stay in contact with Mr. Waddell and they're gonna allow you to report remotely. So ever so often, but when you come to court, they're gonna want to see you in person.
Okay.
That day. So don't check in and then leave without seeing them, okay?
Okay.
That's all I have. That's all you have to do.
Judge, I will speak to Mr. Murray on that. I do. Special setting on that, because of the state witnesses, but I will.
Morning, Judge. How are you?
You have to both Smith, right? Ashley Smith.
Yes, sir.
Ashley Lene Smith, CR 21-341 and 2021-494. Ms. Smith is set for retrial and the DWI third. The other one appears to be what, a Class C appeal.
Yes, sir. It was in Judge Winter's court. Didn't actually know that it was last week, but essentially out of the same incident. So that's why it was moved together. Judge set for pretrial. We had a pretrial setting last month, I believe, because I hadn't had time to look at discovery. I've reviewed discovery. There's a potential issue that I need to do a little more legal research on, decide whether or not I need to raise that issue. If I'm fine with just moving into docket call, and if the court would grant me leave to file that motion, if I decide to do that based on the legal research.
Any objection from the state? All right, court will grant leave for filing of a late motion if necessary. Court will set Ms. Smith for docket call. Are you available April 12th?
Yes, sir.
I will set Ms. Smith for docket call April 12th at 9 AM.
Judge.
Yes, you're free to go, Ms. Smith.
Judge, if you'll recall Justin Smith again.
Justin Lee Smith. Justin Lee Smith.
Judge, I've had some recent contact with him, but I haven't. It's been,
Do you want to try that?
I'll try to find him and get him here. I'll hang around a little bit, but phone line's kind of hard to find, so I'll see what I can do.
But if you don't, then just poke your head back in and let me know you're leaving, and I'll know what to do.
Thank you, Judge.
Mr. Biggs? Well, sir, how are you? Aaron Vasquez?
We're set for retrial this morning. This is going to be a plea. We're just asking for recess. We do the plea. Some paperwork was not correct, so we're trying to hash that out. We just need whatever time the court deems fit to recess the case.
Let's see, back, March. It's gonna be a plea to probation, or?
Yes, sir.
We can come back. March 8th or 10th.
Yes.
Judge, the state's gonna request the since we are gonna offset the plea. I believe that's been agreed to, so I'll get back to you.
Okay. All right, we'll get March 8th or 10th. Either one of those, March 8th or 10th.
You both will be fine, Judge.
Both, okay. All right, so you go ahead and prepare your reset form, and we'll say March 10th. Have a few less cases there. We'll say March 10th at 9 a.m. Plea. And then once you go over the waiver, get that signed, just let me know, and I'll get you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Biggs, are you doing the plea on Cameron Martin or is Mr. Biggs?
It'll actually most likely be Mr.
Okay,
It'll be Marcus.
okay, no problem.
So if we can get that on the same day.
Okay, I was under the impression that it might be done today.
That's starting, I was under the impression you were referring at today, but that's not the consensus. We got no objection to moving it to the same day, we just believe it this today. Honda did. Yeah, Mr. Martin.
So I didn't realize it was on the docket.
He's not on any docket, we just thought it was being taken care of today.
I apologize, Judge.
So-
Basically, me and Mr. Bingham. I know Mr. Martin is asking for some time to get his affairs in order. That's a brief first time. And gonna get it set for the same date. Gonna get Mr. Vasquez's case set first.
It looks like they filed it in, so.
I was instructed on Thursday to file it real fast because we thought it was going to be taken care of today, but if not, I don't think
He's not here.
it's not, it's brand new filed case. It's not even set for anything.
We just signed his three papers yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, both of them, we signed them up yesterday, Judge.
Smith or?
Smith County, yes, sir.
All right, so he's not here today, so I'm just gonna mark it on the docket. Once you are ready to set it, just contact the coordinator.
The same date is March 10th. That would make it easier for me, Mr. Bingham.
I can give you that, David. He's not here, so I can't order him to be here right now, but if you just want to tell Ms. Abraham that, you're ready to plea on. I'm sorry, Bill, to report it here. It's not on the docket, but you can just tell him March 10th. We'll do it that same.
I apologize.
It's okay. Mr. Sawyer, are you ready?
Yeah.
Just have one today.
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Welch.
Michael Welch, CR 18520. Mr. Welch is set on a motion to adjudicate.
Yes, Your Honor, it's a motion to adjudicate. This is the first setting, I believe. I'm still waiting on a copy of the motion itself from the district attorney's office. I did send a discovery request to get that, so if we could just reset it to give me time to get it, speak with my client.
Mr. Woodwhite, can you check to see if the motion to adjudicate is available in online discovery for Mr. Sawyer? Well, Mr. Woodwhite is good now. What I'll do, Mr. Sawyer, is since this is your first setting, I will set this for the contested docket on March 31st. Y'all reach an agreement between now and then, get it set earlier, or we can resolve it on that day.
Yes, sir.
And that will be at 9 a.m.
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Welch, I want you to understand you are still on probation, all right? Just because a motion's been filed doesn't relieve you of the order to go and report and drug test and do all those things, okay? If you stop doing all of these things on probation, they can amend the motion and allege new violations against you, okay? So once you sign this notice, resetting you until March 31st, then you are free to go.
Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge, don't we have she grabbing up your team?
Oh, yeah, she texted.
All right. If it's okay with you, I think she would prefer to just come here, like she was gonna try, it's for DNA, she was gonna go try to go to the jail and serve, and she's here in Kansas. Okay.
That's fine. Yeah, they'll send me something. Mr. Paddock, are you ready on any of Mr. Ashmore's clients?
I think I still need to.
Okay. So I do have a couple of attorneys online here. Let's see. Is Sid Hoffmeyer here? Good morning, Ms. Baker. Can you see and hear me okay?
Good morning, Your Honor.
All right. This is cause number CR 21327, State of Texas versus Sid Therese Hoffmeyer, and we are set for docket call today.
Yes, Your Honor. I think we would need another reset. The reason why I'm asking for that is because I spoke with the prosecutor last week. I was able to pick up some discovery that is on disk. I'm not yet able to look at that because I don't have a way on my laptop to view what's on those disks. I am getting something that I can hook up to the computer so I can look at that. And I should be able to do that within the week or so. And then we are in negotiation, trying to finalize a plea agreement of some sort, but I need to get some documentation together to send over to the prosecutor. And so that was our conversation at the end of last week.
State any objection? Okay. All right. So Ms. Baker, are you available on April 12th or 14th?
Could you give me the dates again, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am. April 12th or 14th.
The 12th is fine.
Okay. All right, so Ms. Hopper, the court will set you for a docket call on April 12th at 9 a.m. Ms. Baker, we said the 12th, right?
Yes, Your Honor. 4/12/22 at 9 a.m.
All right, Ms. Hopper, I'm going to have the deputy bring you this notice of appearance. You're going to sign there. We're going to give you a copy. It's just the notice of your reset date, okay? Once you get that yellow copy, then I want you to go down to the end of the hall and talk to the court collections officer, because I show that you're delinquent on a former case on your payments, okay?
Okay.
Just go down to the end of the hall and talk to the court collection officer. Thank you, Ms. Baker. Is that all you have today?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Hey, you're very welcome. Mr. Wine, you ready? Mr. Lucas? Paperwork, Judge? Yes. Motion remote. This is cause number CR 14452, State of Texas versus Justin Horton Lucas. Mr. Lucas, if you'll raise your right hand, sir. Mr. Lucas, do you swear that the testimony you give to the court today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, you may put your hand down. You are Justin Horton Lucas, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Lucas, you appeared before the court on February 24th of 2015. You pled guilty to the second-degree felony offense of robbery. Court heard the evidence, followed the plea agreement in your case at that time, deferred a finding of guilt, placed you on community supervision for a period of 5 years. Court also finds that, I'm assuming that Mr. Horton's community supervision was extended.
Your Honor, I believe this motion was filed before the probation term expired.
Motion was filed September 7th, 2017. Court suspended that sentence, placed you on community supervision for 5 years, and assessed a $2,000 fine. It was during that period of your community supervision that the state of Texas alleged what appears to be 6 different counts of ways that you violated the terms and conditions of your community supervision. Have you had enough time to review that motion with your attorney, Mr. Weiner?
Yes, Your Honor.
You feel like you had enough time to discuss it with him, and I have all of the questions all of the answers to your legal questions answered.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there anything about the paperwork that you've read and signed today that you do not understand?
No, sir. No, Your Honor.
And Mr. Weiner, do you believe Mr. Lucas to be competent?
I do, Judge.
And have you explained to him his legal rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you believe he understands them?
I believe he understands all of them, Judge.
And does he waive the formal reading of the state's motion to adjudicate?
We do, Judge.
All right, Mr. Lucas, I see here that the plea agreement is that you're going to plead true to those counts in exchange for the state's recommendation that your guilt be adjudicated. That means that you get convicted today of that second-degree felony offense of robbery, and that your punishment be assessed today at 10 years confinement in prison. But the state's going to recommend to the court that that sentence be suspended and you be placed on probation again for a period of 5 years, and you being ordered to pay all of the previous financial obligations. Is that your understanding of the plea agreement?
Yes, Your Honor.
And can you tell me what's going to be different about being on probation this time than last time?
Yes, Your Honor, my entire life is more stable. I paid off a home. My daughter's grown quite a bit. I am much more stable than I was last time. I'm much more older. I was a grown child last time. I'm no longer that.
So you believe that you're going to be successful this time around?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Mr. Lucas, understanding the plea agreement in this case, I'm going to ask you at this time, how do you plead to counts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 as they are alleged in the state's motion to adjudicate? Are those counts true or not true?
True, Your Honor.
Are you telling me that they're true because in fact, all of the conduct in there is true? You're not just telling me it's true so that you can get another probation plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, court will accept the defendant's plea of true to each count as alleged. Mr. Weiner, any objection to the state's evidence?
No, Your Honor.
The state's evidence is admitted and the court takes judicial notice of the defendant's judicial confession. Anything further from the state?
No, Your Honor.
From the defense?
Press and close, Judge.
All right, Mr. Lucas, court will approve the plea agreement today. The court hereby convicts you of the second degree felony offense of robbery. Assesses your punishment at 10 years confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. The court will suspend that sentence today and place you on community supervision for 5 years. Orders you to pay the balance of your previous financial obligations, including fines, court costs, and fees. So, Mr. Lucas, I'm glad to hear that you believe that you're going to be successful this time because of the changes in your life. I hope that's the case. If it turns out to not be the case, then you understand what the sentence is going to be if you violate.
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that sentence?
10 years.
10 years. It's not up to, it's not 2 to 10, it is 10 years. All right? So I'm hopeful that you will be successful. You said you have a little girl?
Yes, I do. She's 5 years old, about to be 6.
5 and about to be 6. She needs you at home, doesn't she?
She does.
All right. So before you make any decision, think about, is this decision going to take me away from that little girl?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And if you'll do that, you'll make the right decision. That's right. All right, Mr. Lucas, you're hereby remanded to the custody of the Banton County Community Supervision and Corrections Department so they can carry out the terms and conditions of the sentence. And if I didn't say it earlier, I find that he has violated the terms and conditions of his community supervision.
Thank you, Your
All
Honor.
right, I'm going to have you come forward, be fingerprinted with the deputy, and then you'll report over here to Officer Chura for further instructions.
That's all I have. Excuse, Judge.
Yes, it does. It does. take care of it. So Mr. Lucas had a surrender of principal one on this case.
Right.
We're going to withdraw that. This should take
It
care of
was
it.
our understanding. I told him not to speed the next couple days. But
Yeah. So we need to make sure we get that. Mr. Green, were you ready again, or are you still waiting?
Mr. Smith is here, but I think
Yeah.
we should definitely ready.
Come on, Mr. Green. All right, you have that way. The state still have it. We were just gonna do the waiver, right? Yes, sir. Oh, is this it? Okay. Yeah, no, you're good. Aaron Vasquez. All right, we're back on the record, cause number CR 21394, CR 21395. Mr. Vasquez, if you'll raise your right hand, sir, I'm going to place you under oath. Mr. Vasquez, do you swear that the testimony you give to the court today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, you can put your hand down. Your name is Aaron, is it Aaron Junior Vasquez, or are you Aaron Vasquez Junior?
Aaron Vasquez Jr.
Junior, I'm gonna mark this out. It's got your middle name is Junior. And Mr. Vasquez, I hold in my hand two documents that appear to have your signature, along with your attorney's signature, Mr. Biggs standing in for Mr. Bingham, and also the signature of the attorney for the state. Have you read these two documents entitled waiver of jury trial in both of your cases?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand, Mr. Vasquez, that you have the absolute right to have a jury of your peers decide whether you are guilty or not guilty in each of these cases? Do you understand that you can also waive that right? Do you understand that by waiving your right to a jury trial, you're also waiving the right to cross-examine the state's witnesses and confront them in front of a jury? You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you understand that once you waive this right and the court approves it, that the right may not be restored to you in the future. You understand that? That means that if the court approves this today, there's very limited circumstances in which you could change your mind and say, you know what, my plea agreement fell through, now I want a jury trial. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And so you've taken your time and you've discussed this with your attorney, Mr. Bingham and or Mr. Biggs. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand what you're giving up.
Yes, Your Honor.
And has anybody threatened, forced, or pressured you to make you feel like you had to waive your right to a jury trial?
No, Your Honor.
Right. The court will find that Mr. Vasquez has been admonished of his right to a jury trial, that he's intentionally, knowingly, voluntarily waiving it. The court approves the waiver of jury trial and signs the order. All right, Mr. Vasquez, I believe we've already reset you until April,
March 10th.
sorry, March 10th at 9 a.m. All right. Once you get that yellow copy, you'll be free to go. Yes, thank you, Mr. Biggs. Appreciate you. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Biggs.
No, wait, I think you're.
No, it's his papers.
Okay.
Do you want? So, please. Okay, never mind. I was gonna assign him to conditions of pre-trial release, but in the next court setting, he should be on probation. So we'll just go ahead and make him on. If for some reason he doesn't do his plea, then we'll put him on conditions. Okay. Justin Lee Smith, CR 21370. All right, Mr. Smith, the set for pretrial.
Judge, I was going to ask the court to reset the pretrial. I do have written discovery. I need to stop out of Mr. Attorney's office and pick up videos. So we'd ask that the pretrial be continued so that I can do that.
All right, court will reset Mr. Smith. Assuming April 12th is
That's still good.
same date, right? All right, court will reset Mr. Smith till April 12th for pretrial. All right, Mr. Smith, I'm sure Mr. Green's already talked to you about this, probably even warned you that this was coming, but when your name is called at 9 a.m., you're expected to be in this courtroom. Why were you not here at 9 a.m.? Can't hear you speak up.
A little late.
Well, I know you were a little late. Everybody in this courtroom knows, Mr. Smith, that you were a little late. Why were you a little late?
I was late picking me up.
All right. Mr. Green was waiting around here. All right. If Mr. Green wouldn't have waited around to take care of you, then I would have just put you in jail for being late. You understand that? It's very important that you get here on time so we can handle your case and move along to other people. You understand? All right, Mr. Smith, I'm going to order you on conditions of pretrial release. So I want you to come back here and meet with the pretrial release officers if they have additional paperwork for you. Mr. Green can give you more information about that as they can. So, yeah, she can come on.
And I'll be all my business can be excused.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Green. Right, you ready?
Yes, sir, I am.
Anyone you want to call up first?
I'll leave it up to you, Your Honor.
Shanna Dixon, CR 21383. Dixon is set for pretrial today.
That's correct, Your Honor. I talked with Mr. Woodwhack on this. We do have a suppression issue. I'll be filing a motion to suppress on that. If we can't work it out, we'll need it.
Court will set this case for evidentiary hearing on March 31st. That'll be 9.
Your Honor, just so you can do your docket, I don't anticipate this being. It's pretrial release paper she needed to sign.
I don't have that notated on my docket, but if you want to come just check in with them, I don't have a note on here that we don't have paperwork on her.
Okay.
But
If not, she's free to go.
yeah, she's free to go unless you just want to check in. If you think that there's an issue, I would check.
I'll check with Mr. Wood. Just
Have a seat.
Dixon, correct?
Yes, Shannon Lee Dixon. So, Jordan Manis. Mr. Manis is set for Dr. Cole.
Your Honor, I spoke with Ms. Heisel on this. I think we would both agree that if we have one short reset, we should hopefully be able to come. I'm hoping we can come to an agreement.
Any objection to this request for additional Dr. Cole? All right, court will reset Mr. Manis for additional docket call, April 12th or 14th, Mr. White.
April 12th, we found
There. All right, Mr. Manis, we'll see you back on April 12th at 9 a.m. Free to go. Once you sign, once you take your copy. Free to go. Mr. White, we don't have any issues with mistakes. Okay, thank you very much. Ray Moore Jr., CR 21230.
Your Honor, again, Ms. Heisel and I discussed this. I think we would both agree that I think April 12th, we can reset for docket call. That'll be sufficient. We'll come to it. I think we can make a notation. That'll be final docket call.
Objections? All right, court says Mr. Moore for a final docket call on April 12th at 9 a.m. Mr. Moore, once you sign this notice with Mr. White, get the yellow copy, you're free to go. That's all I have. Yes, thank you, Mr. White. She'll get off the leg.
Here, I'll get you a copy of these here. So
All right, Mr. Sawyer. Mr. White? Ms. Royce? Tate White, CR 21-398, CR 22-51. Show that Mr. White is set for pretrial on the assault, family violence, beating breath, and set for arraignment on the third-degree felony theft of property. Do you have any announcement on the pretrial?
Judge, I'm not sure on the pretrial. My understanding, best I can guess, is that Mr. Hawkins, on the basis of the newly indicted case, was just going to be asking for a reset to see if the state and Mr. Hawkins could try to resolve both cases at the same time.
Yes, Judge, I was asked that. I didn't realize that the case was set today. I only showed the old one. So Mr. Hawkins and I spoke about just resetting this to make sure they were both on the same docket. I did open discovery with them on the newly indicted case this morning, so they should be ready to go on arraignment next time, but neither one of us knew that it was set for arraignment today. I need to respond.
Mr. Sawyer, do you know if Mr. Hawkins is going over the indictment this evening?
Judge, he had to run to another hearing at 10. I'd be happy to go over with Mr. White.
Sure, I'll tell you what, if you want to, I'm going to display it here. If you want to bring Mr. White, you can either do it there at the laptop, you'll be able to see it, or you can bring him up here to the TV. Okay. Where you have more privacy, whatever you want to do. I'll go ahead and display the indictment. Mr. Sawyer, did you have a chance to go over the enhancement paragraphs with him as well?
I did, Your Honor, and Mr. White explained to me that Mr. Hawkins has also gone over that with him as well. Mr. White has given me permission to waive arraignment on Mr. Hawkins' behalf.
Is this name spelled correctly in the indictment? Let me see.
It went off, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, first, middle, and last name's all spelled right?
Yes, sir.
All right, the court will find that Mr. Royce White has waived the formal requirements of arraignment. His name is spelled correctly in the indictment. He does understand the range of punishment, what he's being charged with. The court will set each one of these cases for pretrial. Do you know if he's available on April 12th?
Yes, he is, Your Honor.
Court will set each case for April 12th at 9 a.m. for pretrial. All right, Mr. White, you are free to go. Once you get the other copy, you're free to go.
Yes, sir.
So
Judge, that's all I have. Have excuse.
Yes, thank you, sorry. Casey. Mr. Hart, can you see and hear me okay? Let's get you unmuted.
Did you hear me now, Judge?
I can hear you now.
Okay, my client's on the phone. His ID is 951-776-76651. This is the case that if the court will remember the last time we appeared.
Hang on, let me pull him in so he can be involved in this.
Yes, sir.
Just a second. Mr. Sistro, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, this is Judge Chris Martin, and we are in court, and I called your case. Mr. Harden is here on Zoom as well. This is CR 21-189, State versus Tanner, Garrison, Sistro. Sistro, go ahead, Mr. Harden, what you were saying.
Yes, Your Honor. As the court will remember, the last time we appeared, I told the court that Mr. Sistrunk was taking a job in the oil field in North Dakota. He gave me a date of March the 8th as the available date. The court said we could reset it to that date. And I notified Ms. Tabraham, the court coordinator, when I received that date, and she said she had it reset to that date. But I called in this morning to ensure. And so my client and I are online to make sure that the court knows that we will be there on March the 8th for the sentencing, for the plea.
All right, the state says they have no objection to that request, so we'll, Mr. Sistrunk, I'm gonna order you to be here for a plea in person on March 8th at 9 a.m.
Sir, I'll be there.
All right, so, we'll be adjourned in this hearing. Thank you, Mr. Hardy.
Yes, Your Honor.
Good morning, Mr. Vargas. Can you see and hear me okay?
Yes, I hear everything and everything is okay.
Excellent. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get set up on my end. Just a second. I'm sorry.
Morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Mr. Esberg. Yes, Mr. Interpreter, would you, hang on, Mr. Esberg. Mr. Interpreter, would you test our settings for Mr. Rodriguez?
See
Okay. Okay, excellent. Hang on just one second, Mr. Esberg, and then we'll get started.
No problem, Judge.
Gotta do some swearing. Some good swearing this morning, not the bad kind. Mr. Vargas, sir, will you raise your right hand? Will you go ahead and identify yourself and your license number for the record? Sorry, Mr. Vargas, we're not hearing you. Yeah, Mr. Vargas, we're not hearing you on the court side. Are you still in the Spanish channel? I can hear you now, yes. You go ahead and identify your name and your license number for the record. Mr. Vargas, do you solemnly swear that you will make a true translation of the statements of court, the questions of counsel, and the testimony to be given by the witness in the matter now on trial to the best of your skill and judgment, so help you God? All right, thank you, sir. All right, this is cause number CR 21390, State of Texas versus Joel Manuel Rodriguez Garcia. And Mr. Rodriguez is set for pretrial. Mr. Esberg, do you have any contested pretrial motions on file, motions to suppress, motions to quash, anything like that that's going to need an evidentiary hearing?
No, sir, I do not have any pretrial motion.
All right. Any issues in the case I need to be aware of at this time regarding discovery or anything like that that you're lacking?
No, Judge, it's because we waived arraignment, this is our first appearance, and so I'm just inquiring of how to make sure that I do get all the discovery from the district attorney's office.
Well, the district.
I haven't received anything at this point.
Have you logged into their online discovery portal?
is Van Sant County on the tech share portal, or because honestly, I don't practice in Van Sant County very often, Judge. So I need to inquire as to what accessibility is available to me to get the discovery.
All right, so what you'll need to do is you'll need to contact the DA's office, and they'll walk you through that process. They have online discovery, and they'll tell you what you need to do to get that, and also any digital evidence that's hard copy. So at this time, I'm just going to go ahead and set you for another pretrial hearing. Are you available on either April 12th or April 14th?
I feel certain that going that far out, Judge, I should be available on either day, whatever the court desires.
All right, court will set Mr. Rodriguez then for pretrial hearing on April 12th. And I'm just going to tell you, Mr. Essenberg, you need to get in contact with the DA's office today so they can get you set up and give you the instructions.
I will certainly do that, Judge, and we'll move forward on getting the discovery done.
And are there any questions from Mr. Rodriguez at this time?
And just for the record, Judge, I know my name doesn't necessarily reflect it, but I do speak Spanish, so I can assist in making sure my client is communicating during the course of the proceedings.
Okay, good. Thank you, Mr. Essenberg. But we're always going to have a court attorney, court appointed interpreter through OCA to get through these hearings. So, but I do appreciate may have to rely on that from time to time. So, if there are no questions of Mr. Rodriguez, then we can go forward. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fill out a notice of appearance. I'm going to ask Mr. Rodriguez to sign that, and we're going to give him that set date of April 12th at 9 a.m. Oh, she's already got it. All right, if you could just have Mr. Vargas, we just instruct Mr. Rodriguez there to sign that form, and it's just an appearance. It's just an appearance form, and we're just going to list down here what the purpose is, the date he's going to sign it, and it's going to have a reset date here. That's all that is.
That sounds perfect, Judge. Thank you.
All right.
I'll make sure it's on my calendar.
He's got a carbon copy of that. So Mr. Rodriguez, I'm also going to order that you are to sign conditions of pretrial release. That means that while you are on bond in this case and pending resolution, that you are going to be required to report to a pretrial supervision officer. You're going to be required to drug test, do things of that nature. If you violate any of these conditions that are placed upon you, the court could revoke your bail in this case and put you back in jail until the case is resolved. Do you understand that? He's muted, so he's not being able to hear us. Right?
See,
how about now? Did you hear him?
see,
okay. So at this time, Mr. Rodriguez, I'm going to have you come through these doors and meet with these ladies, and they're going to have you sign some paperwork and give you a copy of that. And Mr. Essenberg, if you want to be available for your client, if what I can do is get your number from. Do you speak English and Spanish? Okay. Are you with the defendant? Okay. Can you go back and assist that way if there's any questions from the pretrial release officer? Thank you very much. Okay. Yes. All right, Mr. Rodriguez, you can step back. Thank you, Mr. Essenberg. That'll be all in this hearing.
Judge.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Well, do you want to just hang out with us the rest of the day, Mr. Vargas? But if you hang out with us, you don't have to do anything else. You'll just sit here and watch the show. No, you're free to go, Mr. Vargas. Thank you for being here. You're very welcome.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome, Mr. Essenberg. We'll see you soon. All right, I'm going to bring in Mr. Peter Ganyard for Todd Shapiro. So, Mr. Russell, you'll come forward. All right, Mr. Gaynor, can you see and hear me okay? Okay, we'll get you unmuted there. Just click that button.
Yes, sir, I can. Thank you, Judge.
Okay, excellent. All right, and you're standing in for Mr. Shapiro today?
That's correct. We're up in federal court.
Okay, all right, this is cause number CR 2361, State of Texas versus Christian Avery Russell. And Mr. Russell is set for arraignment today, Mr. Gaynor. Have you or Mr. Shapiro had an opportunity to go over the indictment with Mr. Russell?
No, not yet, Your Honor.
Okay, so what I can do here is I can have the indictment displayed on the screen, and I can give you just a moment to review that with you.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Russell, can you see this document there on that laptop? Yes, sir. Can you see all of it? Is any of it obstructed at all? Can you see both sides from side to side? Okay, and I'll scroll it down as we need to read, but I'll just give you a moment, and I want you to just raise your hand when you want me to scroll down so you can read more, okay? So I want you to start at the top and start reading that document, okay? That'll be at the bottom of the document. Okay, have you had enough time to read that? Okay, so I'm just going to tell you, Mr. Russell, it appears by this indictment that you have been indicted by the grand jury and charged with a third-degree felony offense of possession of a controlled substance in penalty group 2, greater than or equal to 1 gram, less than 4 grams. A third-degree felony in the state of Texas, if convicted and sentenced, carries a range of punishment of not less than 2 years or more than 10 years confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, that is prison, and also carries a potential fine of not more than $10,000. I want you to look in this document here, and you see where your name is in the middle of this paragraph where it says Christian Avery Russell. Is your name spelled correctly there? And it appears that they're alleging that on May 31st, 2019, in Van Zandt County, that you did intentionally and knowingly possess a controlled substance, namely tetrahydrocannabinols other than marijuana in an amount of 1 gram or more, but less than 4 grams. Do you understand what you're being accused of? Okay, you understand what you're being accused of. And Mr. Gaynor, would you like to enter a plea on behalf of your client today?
Yes, Your Honor. At this time, we'll enter a plea of not guilty.
All right, the court will find that Mr. Russell has been presented with the indictment, and he's waived the formal reading of it, that he has been admonished as to the range of punishment. His name is spelled correctly. He does understand what he's being charged with. Court enters his plea of not guilty into the record. The court will now set this for a pretrial hearing. And Mr. Gaynor, are you familiar with Mr. Shapiro's schedule?
I am, Your Honor. Yes, sir.
Is he available on either April 12th or April 14th?
Let me check real quick. April 12th is perfect for us.
Okay, we'll set this matter for April 12th at 9 a.m. We're going to have him sign a notice of appearance, and we're going to give him a carbon copy of that, of today's date and the recent date.
Perfect.
After that, Mr. Gaynor, I'm going to order Mr. Russell to report to our pretrial release department. And so they're going to have conditions for him where he's going to be required to report, be required to drug test, things of that nature. And we'll explain to him that, Mr. Russell, these conditions that you're going to be placed on, if you violate any of them, if you don't report what you're supposed to, if you test positive, if you commit another crime while you're on condition of pretrial release, the court could find that you violate those and could revoke your bail in this case and put you back in jail. Okay? So at this time, I'm gonna go ahead and order you to report over here, to my right, your left, to these officers, and they're gonna go over that paperwork with you, give you a copy, and then after that time, you're free to go. We'll see you back on April 12th, okay? All right, come on forward.
Judge, if we could have the defense contact our office to set up online discovery. We've sent it to the portal. We noticed that they haven't received an access code. If they would contact our office in order to get that code so we could have their discovery in online form.
Did you hear that, Mr. Gainer?
Yes, sir, I did, Your Honor.
Okay, if you'll take care of that, then we'll be adjourned in this hearing and we'll see either you or Mr. Shapiro on April 12th.
Thank you, Judge. Is that in person on the 12th?
That's in person, yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We'll be there. Thank you, Judge.
You're very welcome.
All right, bye-bye.
Mr. Todd, you ready? Keith Thomas, CR 21-192. Mr. Thomas, I had a note on here to issue a warrant because you weren't here when I called your name earlier. Is there any reason for that?
Oh, I just got here, sir. I come from Dallas, sir, and I got a little traffic coming in.
I understand. You're gonna have to account for that traffic, just like if you were working in Dallas. You have to make sure you leave early.
I had got off a little late today.
I understand.
That's why I had to be a little late. I thought I was gonna make it on time.
All right, Mr. Thomas is set for docket call. Mr. Todd.
Yes, Your Honor. I have talked with the state and we entered into an agreement with respect to the procedure. I was gonna ask the court, I know I have a case out on March 8th. I was gonna ask the court if we could set Mr. Thomas to that date for the plea.
We can. All right, so the court will set Mr. Thomas for plea on March 8th. Should that be a morning plea or have to be the next day?
It's a probation.
So morning, all right, so that'd be at 9 a.m. All right, so Mr. Thomas, once you sign and get the yellow copy, you're free to go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You have there on Mr. Axel. So you're
Product is walking around like that.
you've got 2 pages. Ishmael Rodriguez. This is CR 21-368. Mr. Rodriguez, I reset you from court last time to give you time to hire an attorney. Tell me you've hired an attorney or what you've done to try to hire an attorney.
Well, right now, we're trying to work it out right now.
What does that mean?
Ms. Waddell was trying to help me out with an attorney,
What does that mean?
state of point attorney.
Well, you make too much money for a court-appointed lawyer. You don't
I was, but I stopped working for since September, October.
What you reported to my indigent defense
I
counsel today.
Ms. Waddell. Yes, sir.
Right, you reported all that today, right? Yeah. Okay, so the information you gave me today says that you make too much money for a court-appointed lawyer. Okay, so I'm gonna reset it. I'm gonna give you until April 12th, and you're gonna need to have an attorney.
April 12th.
April 12th.
Okay.
All right. deputy's gonna bring this form. That's gonna be the last time that I said, all right, if you come back without a lawyer, then I'm gonna start having a hearing about your bail. Leland Cashin? Am I saying your last name right? Cashin? All right, this is cause number CR 2149. Mr. Cashin, you've been charged by indictment with a second-degree felony offense of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. That kind of offense carries a range of punishment. If you were convicted and sentenced of that offense, your sentence could be anywhere from the minimum 2 years to the maximum 20 years and up to a $10,000 fine. I see that on February 15th, you had requested a court-appointed attorney, but just like I told the other gentleman, you do not meet the financial requirements to be considered indigent and entitled to a court-appointed attorney. So what I can do is I can reset you until April 12th and give you time to hire an attorney to represent you on this. Your only other option is to represent yourself. And I would discourage you from representing yourself on a felony offense with such a high range of potential punishment.
Can I have someone that knows the law real good represent me, even though he's not an attorney?
If you did and that person did it, then they would be committing the crime of unauthorized practice of law, holding themselves out a lawyer, and they would go to prison also. So it doesn't work like that. If you want to have someone come represent you in court, they have to be a lawyer. They have to be licensed and in good standing with the State Bar of Texas and licensed in the state of Texas.
I talked to this gentleman and he said he thought he could, but it's not.
If he thinks that he can do that, then that's not the guy you want, because obviously he doesn't know. Okay, so I'm going to reset you until April 12th, and then I want you to go and I want you to talk to lawyers and tell them what you're charged with. And Deputy Plea should, after he signs, if you'll bring me that, I'll fill out the information on this charge. That way, when he meets with a lawyer, they'll have more information about it.
Your Honor, I only make $1,700 a month.
I understand. So the way it works is the paperwork that you send in, right? I review that. My coordinator reviews that. And we take how much you make, we take your assets, we take your expenses. It's a formula. And the law tells us if the subtraction of those two equals a certain amount and you're above it, then you're not indigent. If it equals below that, then you are indigent. The paperwork you provided based on your financials, under the law, I'm not able to appoint you an attorney. Okay, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you till April 12th. That's almost, a month and a half. That way you can save up money and that you can go and try to hire an attorney. Okay, so when you come back, I expect either A, you're going to have hired an attorney, or you're going to come back and you're going to tell me at least 5 attorneys that you contacted and tried to hire with all their information. Okay. All right, court's gonna stand in recess for 15 minutes. Brittany Boyd. This is CR 21-280. Ms. Boyd is set for docket call today. Mr. Craddock.
Yes, Your Honor, we have communicated with the state and I believe we have reached an offer that Ms. Boyd will accept. So we are ready to plead on that offer.
All right, so you want to set it for a plea?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, we can come back either March 8th, 10th, or sometime in April.
March 8th, I believe we have some other matters set for that day, which would be a good day for us.
All right, we'll set then Ms. Boyd for plea on March 8th at 9 a.m. All right, so once you sign and get the yellow copy with the March 8th, 9 o'clock time, then you'll be free to go.
Sure, she has contact Mr. King.
Text message.
I see it.
Try text message.
Yes, sir.
45 minutes to back and forth. Or you know, 30. Yeah, or 1:30. Matthew England. All right, Mr. England is set for pretrial on his assault of a public servant charge. As he's also been charged with information with a driving while intoxicated second class A misdemeanor, which I show would be set for arraignment today. Have you had a chance to go over the information, Mr. England?
Yes, Your Honor, I have.
Is his name spelled correctly?
Yes, Your Honor.
Does he waive the formal reading of the information?
Yes, Your Honor.
And how does he enter a plea?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
All right, court will set Mr. England then for pretrial in each case. And I would set that in April to give Mr. Ashmore more time to review the discovery. Is he available on April 12th?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. England is set for pretrial in each matter, April 12th at 9 a.m. Mr. England, once you sign the notice of appearance and get the yellow copy, you're free to go. Track, do you have any of the notice forms filled out for these clients?
I neglected to do that, Your Honor. That was,
Well, just go ahead and fill it out as we're doing it, and that way. There you go. Go ahead and fill those out, have them sign it. Marshall Flores. You can go ahead, Mr. Craddock. I won't start the hearing until you get Mr. England his stuff. Patty, just move this podium out of the way. conditions of pretrial release already on it. Check. Scott Means, yes, it's aggravated robbery. It's not up. These are good. Sorry. All right, Mr. Flores is set for arraignment on manufactured delivery of controlled substance, first degree felony. Actually, both of these cases appear to be first degree manufactured delivery of controlled substances. Have you had a chance to go over the indictment with Mr. Flores?
Yes, Your Honor.
His name spelled correctly?
Yes, Your Honor.
Does he understand the full range of punishment?
Yes, or no, Your Honor.
No?
Not on this case.
All right, if my I'm not looking at the indictments, but if they're first degree felonies, then Mr. Flores, if you were convicted and sentenced on either one of these charges, the potential range of punishment would be a minimum of 5 years to a maximum of 99 years or life confinement in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. Do you understand that full range of punishment? Yeah. Okay. And is his name spelled correctly in each indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
And does he waive the formal reading of the indictment?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, and how does he enter a plea?
Not guilty, Your Honor.
All right, the court will enter a plea of not guilty for Mr. Flores, findings waived for formal requirements of arraignment. The court will set him for a pretrial hearing on April 12th at 9 a.m. And Mr. Flores, once you sign, you'll get a copy for you. Thank you. Alicia Harris. All right, Ms. Harris is set for pretrial. Are there any contested pretrial motions, Mr. Credit?
No, Your Honor.
All right, there being no contested pretrial, then the court will set Ms. Harris for a docket call on April 12th at 9 a.m. Ms. Harris, once you sign, you get the other copy, you're free to go. We'll see you back on April 12th. You can come on up here and sign right there at the table. Right. Mr. Jackson. This is cause number CR 21-361, State versus Wavian and Sean Jackson. Mr. Jackson is set for pretrial. Are any contested pretrial motions?
No, Your Honor.
All right, there being no contested pretrial motions, Mr. Jackson, you're set for a docket call on April 12th at 9 a.m. And what docket call is that's the time I'm going to want to hear if you're going to be able to reach any kind of plea agreement with the state, or if you're going to be requesting a trial before the court or a jury trial. Okay, so come on up here and sign this form with Mr. Craddock, and then you are free to go. Shelby Joslin. All right, Ms. Joslin, this is CR 2126. Ms. Joslin is set for pretrial today. Are there any contested pretrial motions?
No, Your Honor.
Any other issues going on in her case that we're needs to be aware of?
Not at this time, Your Honor. We just went over our offer, communicated the first offer to Ms. Joslin, so she is considering it at this time.
All right, the court will set Ms. Joslin in for docket call on April 12th, 9 a.m. Same thing, Ms. Joslin, when I expect on the 12th that you'll either tell me that you want to enter into a plea agreement, or you want a trial before the court or a trial before a jury. Okay. All right, if you'll come up, sign this form with Mr. Craddock, and you'll be free to go after you get your yellow copy.
Hello, sir.
Hello, Mr. Crane.
How are you?
I'm doing fine. Is there any reason you're not in court today with Mr. Padron?
Yes, sir. I had a plea. My client was deaf. We had to get brand new plea paperwork, and it just tied up my entire morning. This also was on a plea that had failed twice before for other reasons.
Okay, well, just give us notice next time, so we'll be aware, and then we can work you in. Because Mr.
Yes,
Padron,
sir.
he didn't know where you were, and I didn't know where you were, so. All right, this is cause number CR 21336, State of Texas versus Carlos David Padron. Mr. Padron is set for pretrial. Do you have any contested pretrial motions?
No.
All right, if there's no contested pretrial, then what I would do is set it for a docket call and then expect some kind of announcement on whether Mr. Padron wants a plea agreement, wants to enter into a plea agreement, or a trial before the court, or a trial before a jury. So are you available on April 12th or 14th?
The 14th, yes.
All right, we'll set Mr. Padron then for docket call on April 14th at 9 a.m. Mr. Padron, if you'll sign there that notice, we'll give you the yellow copy, and then you'll be free to go. All right, thank you, Mr. Crane.
Thank you, sir.
All right, have a good day.
You too.
So the names that I have. Lane Birdie, yes, sir. Gonzalez, she doesn't.
This one, okay. Oh, okay, yes, sir.
Tamara Reed.
Yes, sir.
Same thing, she doesn't show her. Mark Walcott.
Yes, sir.
Wow, we just take the two times.
You want me to call Gonzalez too, or wait on her?
Go ahead and call her names. There's someone logged in as Zoom, but she's not turning her camera on. So I can't verify that that's her. Not that I'm aware of. I think she was planning on being here. Yeah, we can double check. I'm not aware of it.
I just didn't see either one of them, so I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Downstairs, and one of the things. Oh. I was downstairs. I called it again.
Still here.
I hate every downstairs forever downstairs. Silly girl tone responses. He did, and I made it to.
Okay.
Wait, Dad says Gonzalez is something about she can't see her, but she's not muted or something. Is she on the, do you have her right there?
Yeah, she's logged in, can't see over here. So I don't know.
It's because it's doing.
All right, court's going to stand in recess. Well, let me see. We've got the names, Jennifer Lynn Gonzalez, Juvie Daniel Landaverdi, Tamara Lee Reed, Mark Harrison Walcott. All their names have been called on this morning's docket. They were not present in the courtroom. They're not present at this time, which is 11:55 a.m. The names have been called loudly, distinctly 3 times. Courthouse, any response, deputy police?
No response, Your Honor.
There being no response, court will issue judgment not size and alias capias. Court will take under advisement that Jennifer Gonzalez and Tamara Reed and Justin Lee Cannon until 1:30. We'll stand in recess and resume at 1:30 with our